Afternoon, everybody. I'm
Hey.
Alvin,
And I'm Charles. Good
And-
afternoon.
welcome to Tit for Tat,
Yes, this and that.
where we talk about hot button topics, throw in a little comedy,
Yeah.
issues affecting the Black, gay, lesbian, trans, bi, and straight LMNOP communities. Today, we are going to be discussing dating,
Yes.
relationships, and kind of maneuvering in between all of that. In 2024, how does dating resemble, or what it's going to be like in 2024? Is it kind of moving towards more like it has been in 2022, 2023, towards the social apps and not so much, actually meeting in person to go out on a date? And then how does dating lead into relationships? And then just we'll be talking about certain red flags and things, to look out for when you're dating or in a relationship. But first, we're going to do our little chuckle of the week here. Charles got me back into TikTok, looking at some of the TikTok videos, and the one I'm gonna show is it's probably a year or so old, maybe a little longer. But as I was going through the TikToks, I just started laughing at this one again. It's just a chuckle to get us started here.
Yeah.
And so we're gonna do our little chuckle of the week right here.
Oh Lord.
Oh my oh my God.
All right.
No, so we're gonna do a little chuckle here.
Choose your weapon. Hold on, please. You got me fucked young. Can y'all follow me on the ground? For real?
So I don't know why, but that's just hilarious to me. Now, I'm not into violence, so I don't condone it. But just him. I originally started watching his little TikToks, and it was like, did you eat my pizza? And then all of a sudden I saw this whack, and then knocked him into the door, and that's kind of just what had me dying about it. He just ate several other ones,
At least no one was hurt or harmed.
Right. But when he took that Christmas tree,
Oh my.
tree, that was hilarious to me. But anyway, so that was our little chuckle for the week, just to get us going and have something before we get into our
Serious talking.
Yeah, I guess serious. And then we also had a oh no you didn't moment. This, Charles chose this. This was kind of hilarious to me also. But I guess we'll save that one for when we get into the discussion, because it kind of plays into one of the questions we have.
Okay.
All right. So we'll save that oh no you didn't
Right.
moment as we get into this discussion. So Charles, we're kind of talking about dating here. And I'm gonna push this across the screen right there. This statistic was in 2022 and it was published in 2023, so that's not too far off.
Right.
But it says 72% of male-to-male couples in the United States were white, compared to 6.4% of gay couples who were Black or African American. And now, I do know that there are, there's more white people in the United States, so they have more potential to pair off and couple.
Right.
But still, to me, that's a low number. That 6.4 is a low number for the, for Black gays. And I'm just kind of wondering why are we so low as far as like actually being in a relationship or getting in a relationship and sustaining it and then the white couples, they tend to, not tend to, but they're higher. Their rate is higher of actually, dating and then getting into a relationship. And what's the difference with us? Why is our number so low? Even though I know there's less. There's less. That's my mother. I'll have to find that and call her later. But why is? I mean, there's still a lot of us in the United States. I'm just kind of thrown off of why our numbers are so low, and why is it harder for us to date and get into a relationship and maintain that relationship. And we could be having some of the same issues as the white couples do, but a lot of them that do get in the coupleship, coupledom, or whatever you want to call it, they tend to stay together longer and maintain that relationship into older age. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is, where was the study done? And no one asked me. I was in a relationship around that time or whatever. So, when you do those surveys, they're kind of biased at times. They're not always like accurate or whatever. They're just surveys, and it's like, who are they surveying? The city that they were in, or the state they were in. Do they have a Black population where they can get a good number for African Americans or whatever? But as far as dating, when I go out on the strip, I see couples of all races or whatever. So, of course, like you say, white people are always going to be, seems like, the majority when we go out or whatever, unless you're just on, unless you're in Atlanta. Unless you're in Atlanta or DC or something like that, then you're going to see more of us or whatever. But yeah, we're all human. We all have the same things. I don't know if Caucasians seem to stick it out more than Blacks. Do they actually go get help? Because one of the things that I was reading is that there are actually, dating coaches and dating workshops or groups or whatever. Are we participating in this? When we struggle with issues in our relationships, are we talking to others? Just growing up in a Black household, because I don't know if any other household, I'm Black, so I grew up in a Black household. We didn't really talk about a lot of issues. So is it something that's like taboo in Black relationships when, there's issues in dating or whatever, and, white people go ahead and seek the help or seek the advice of friends or whatever? So that could be, those are just some of the things that off the top of my head that I can see why the numbers may differ. Are we reaching out? Are we getting the help? Is the help even there? Which I know it is, but do we go get the help or the assistance, or do we just we just give up or whatever? So those are my thoughts on that.
Yeah, I'm kind of baffled by it, because when I go out or different places, I see a lot of Black gay men, bi men, trans, but it does just seem to see that seems like nobody really wants to. I'm not going to say that date, because I have dated a few people I have dated with no issue, with no problem or whatever of getting a date. But once I meet them, or whatever, or just say they approach me in the club or whatever, then I'm the one who usually will suggest, hey, you want to go out on a date and stuff. And then I've come across quite a few that I have gone out on a date with that they were really not, had not been on dates before, especially some of the younger crowds. If you're starting to meet a 27, 28-year-old, which is young, but but I tend to meet them in all age groups, as long as you're legal, at least 24, 25, be up in that age group.
Please.
I don't, not the children, don't but even as high as 35 and 40, I'm finding that a lot of them, they don't go out have not been out on dates, or they, it's very infrequent that they've gone out on dates and they don't get asked out on dates either.
Mm-hmm.
So when when I have asked them after meeting them, I said, would you like to go out on a date?
Mm-hmm.
They was like, oh, yeah, I would love to go out on a date, but they didn't. A lot of them don't have the experiences of when I've gone out with some who said, oh, I've never been on a date before.
Mm-hmm.
Now they met people, gone out, like hooked up or something, but it seems to be that they're meeting off of the dating apps and not so much in person anymore.
Mm-hmm.
As far as like when they're meeting guys and getting into where they can just go get into a relationship just from meeting somebody off of the dating app without actually dating and going out and trying to know the person or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm all over the place here with this. But I don't know. Do you think that the dating apps have hindered the date? The actual dating, like actually going on a live date. Do you think that the dating apps have played a role in that, because it's so easy to get on there and swipe left and swipe right or whatever, and see the picture or whatever they're saying in there, and then we maybe fool ourselves into thinking that's our perfect date, and that's who I want to be in a relationship, without actually meeting the person
Mm-hmm.
and talking to the person and going on several dates, so so you can notice red flags,
Mm-hmm.
or get past that visual of just looking at that person like, oh, they're beautiful, or they got a nice body. Get past that,
right, so
you can know what's actually inside that person. Because I know we are visual. We immediately see looks and body, because men tend to be like that, but you still have to get past that,
Mm-hmm.
And I know dating will help with that a lot. But if you don't date and you just go swipe, pull up the apps and, I don't have anything against the apps, you know what I mean? But it just seems like, to me, it seems like they've taken the place of actually dating and getting to know a person, or two or three, dating two or three people, and then you can narrow it down, or whatever, or then you both job, and then you might, get out of the casual dating and go into the serious dating, which could lead to a relationship. But it seems like with the apps, we're not getting there. We're just getting, not me, I don't get on the apps anymore, but on the apps, you get on there and then it's just shit everywhere. They're just saying everything, posting wrong pics, saying whatever, and people buy into that. But then you know what I mean? But then it doesn't really lead to a date. It usually likes to lead to sex or something, but it doesn't lead to a date, which could lead to a relationship.
It's how to me, it's how you use the app. If that's what you're going to use it for, that's what you're going to use it for. There's nothing stopping you from asking to ask the person for a date. Either you asking or they ask. Just say, I want to go on a date. So the apps, they're not stopping dating. You're stopping dating by not even asking. For me, what the apps do for me is, because I can't, it's difficult for us to know if a person is gay unless we see them in a certain environment, or a friend says, oh, I know he messes around or whatever, because a man is a man. There's nothing on you that says, oh, this is a gay man. So for me, that's what the apps assist me with. I know if you're on this app, pretty much, because we do have the DLs or whatever, but they're still gay.
They're gay or bisexual if they're on the apps.
Exactly.
Unless they're dealing with trans and they consider themselves straight. So.
Exactly. So I mean, what that does for me is it distinguishes them from the straight men. I guess. And so that's why I like the apps or whatever. But if I see someone and we start talking or whatever, and I think that, this will be a match or this will be a nice person to get to know a little bit better, then yeah, let's go bowling. Let's go to eat. We all have to eat. Let's go for drinks or whatever. So it's just how you use the apps. If you feel like you just want to use the apps to hook up, then that's you doing that. That's not the app stopping you. I mean, I would think that the apps kind of would help assist you in your dating, because it tells you, if you fill it out and you use it correctly, it already tells you what you like, what you're into. It bypasses a lot of the questions that you could ask a person if they're being honest, they're being truthful or whatever. So therefore you can know, is this something is this a road I want to go down or whatever? Because they've already listed their hobbies, they already listed, their top, bottom, verse, whatever. They've already listed, their business person, they're working, they've listed their vaccinations and all that kind of stuff. So to me, I feel like it kind of assists you in whether you want to swipe left or right or whatever by what they say. But of course, you will never really know until you go on a date with them, because people can say whatever in the profile. So yeah, if you want to go on a date, just ask for it.
So because you're on the app, so do you feel
Wait a
that
minute, you're telling my business?
I think everybody knows you're on that.
No, no.
The whole world.
Whatever.
So what do you think that that a majority of the guys are on those apps? Or you think they're being truthful with the stuff that they put in their profiles and the pics and stuff that they put out? Because some of them are outdated. Actually, quite a few of the pics are outdated. But do you think that most of the guys on there, and do you actually think that they're actually filling out their profiles? Because there's a lot of them. When a couple of years ago when I was on Jack, there would be quite a few profiles, a lot that had nothing in them,
Mm-hmm.
and they might just show a chest pic or a butt pic or something like that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Or they'll have stuff in there and they're very rude when they talk to people. They'll have their preferences and stuff in there, which could be fine, but some of them can be very, discriminatory,
Mm-hmm.
and excluding. But do you think that most of do you think most of the people on these apps are actually putting in accurate information?
I would need to. I don't know them, so
I'm not asking you, I'm saying your opinion.
Right, and I'm giving it to you.
Not because we're not going to know everybody on the apps. I'm asking you what your opinion is of what do you think these. Do you think? My opinion is most of the profiles I came across were not truthful.
Okay.
And then some of it just because if you do meet the people, or you see them out somewhere, or whatever, and or just them through friends and stuff, and you kind of know that's not really them.
Right.
Not that we go in there and front somebody out, but you know what I'm saying. But you'll find a lot of the profiles and stuff. To me, I found them not very truthful or accurate. A lot of catfishing going on. But I just want to get your opinion on it, because it seems that's where we are now. And as far as like trying to date somebody or meet somebody seriously, to date with intention, that can lead to a relationship. But it seems like we're meeting more people. More people are geared towards these apps and social media.
So my opinion is, I don't know everyone to distinguish whether they're telling the truth, but the people that I have met, yeah, because I have the conversation with them before we even go on a date. So I get to know them past what they put in the profile. So I would say most of the people that I've met, they're true to what their profile, because I'm not really digging deep, and the profile is not really digging deep. You're basically telling me this is something that I enjoy. This is something that I like. This is what I do. You're just giving me like the foundation, or very basic information. And when I go on that first date, That's pretty much what I see. But before we even get to a date, if we get to a date, we've had conversation. So I've already kind of got a feel of you or whatever, because I'm not meeting no one because I don't want to have to fight nobody. I don't want to have to, I don't want to get murdered, you know, and I don't want to murder them or whatever. So I need to get a feel, I need to be safe. I need to feel like, you know, you are a person that really wants to do this and it could lead to something. I'm not just meeting randoms or whatever. So my numbers few in people that I've actually met on the app. I'm on there, but the quality that I see on there, that's the question. The quality that I see on there, what they're giving, is not something that I even want to waste my time on. Because most, like I said, most people are just on there for hookups or whatever. And that's not,
or to feed their ego, you know, because they may not be getting attention anywhere else, so they can be anything they want on these apps. And, you know, and they can, you know.
Yeah, they do that on Instagram and Facebook too.
Yeah, Facebook. People are using Facebook, Instagram, and stuff to hook up too. It's not what it used to be.
But I mean that they also use it as which they're not. They're putting up a fake persona on even Facebook and Instagram.
It's so
because I'm like, no, and it's funny when you actually know these people. Like I see you, and I know this is not you, or whatever. Yeah. So
we've dated some, and we know that's not you. What you're portraying yourself to be on Facebook and Instagram, what you're putting out to the world or the public and stuff. What you want them to see you as, you know, like this. You're this great. And happy and so and so, but you know, in the background, that's not really you. But we, you know, people use social media for all other type of stuff. You know, a lot of times it's so that leads into this question. You know, does spending a lot of time on social media harm a relationship? And then, if so, how so? You know, just your opinion, how so? Or does it raise suspicion? You know, does it raise suspicion? When you're always on social media, let me give you this. Okay, say you have you've met somebody and y'all are dating. You know, just say you're dating, and you just say you've been dating for maybe a few weeks or something. And you seriously like that person and they seriously like you, do you still stay on social media? I mean, not social media, but just say the dating apps. Actually, you know, Facebook and Instagram are used because people have alternate profiles too. Not, they can have a main one and then they have other ones that they're slipping around with, you know, even though they're in a relationship with you or whatever. But do you, so just say Jacked or Grinder, what, you know, the ones that people are on. So say you met this really great person and they think you're great, you know, and you're dating, you're having a good time or whatever. Do you still keep your apps and then do you still go in there chatting and talking with people? Or do you wait until you actually have you're in a committed relationship with that person and then do you delete the app and or on social media like Facebook and stuff, you know, stop communicating with the people who you've been communicating with on there as far as like hook up, sexual, or trying to meet somebody? Is there a line there where or do you stay on there when your whole relationship, you know? Like say you do get into a relationship where you're seriously dating, do you stay?
Your questions are so long. So can I answer?
I mean, so yeah. So I would. I mean, do you stay on social media?
Yeah, I'm gonna answer. So for me, that has happened. We met on the app, and we started dating, and we agreed to a time where we would get off. We both agreed because while we were dating, we didn't know if we were gonna, you know, be together or whatever. So we came to an agreement. So it's something. I mean, that's how I would do it. I can't force another person to get off. They can't force me to get off. But it's something we can communicate about and say, hey, I think this is going somewhere. Let's agree to get off the apps or whatever. And that's what you do. I mean, if you're serious about dating, now if you're not serious about dating, then yeah, you're going to keep going on or whatever. Or if, you know, you have a ulterior motive, you know, I'm going to let him think I'm off, but I still have this other one, then you're not really serious in dating. And I And I would never know that unless, I found out or a friend say,
Or you both stayed on the app.
right. Well, no, I'm not going to stay on it because if I agree that we're going to get off, I'm going to get off. So to me, it's the communication and we both coming to an agreement that, hey, I think you're my guy. I think I'm your guy, whatever. So let's delete our apps.
So some of the people I was talking with, they were telling me like they got into the relationships, or whatever, but then they got, they deleted the apps, but then found out that their partner was still on the apps, and when the partner, like different ones were confronted, they had different reasons, said, well, I have friends on there, and I like to talk to my friends. To me, you can give them your phone number, y'all can chat, or you introduce them to your partner or something,
right.
Like that, and then y'all hang out or do whatever. But they were, it turns out they're really on there, they still want their partner, but they're still on there looking for the next best thing, or thinking that that the grass is greener on the other side, that they're going to find, whatever.
Yeah.
And to me, is that an issue if one gets off and then the other one stays on, or
it'll be an issue for me.
Right.
I mean, like I said, the relationship I had, that's where we met. We dated. We found out that we wanted to take it further. We both got off the app. That's the way it should be. Because why would you still be on the app if you say you want to be with me? So anybody that's still on there, then they're not serious about dating.
And does that raise suspicion if you just say you catch them, somebody tells you, well, your boyfriend is still on the apps? Does that raise suspicion like they're probably cheating or looking to cheat or
Oh, we're definitely gonna address it if someone tells me that or whatever. But yeah, I thought you said, especially if they told me that, yeah, I'm getting off the app, we'll agree to get off it, and then I find out you're still on it, then yeah, we're gonna have issues.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I would think that was, I mean, unless you're okay with that, but evidently you already told me that you're a liar because we've agreed to get off and you're still on or whatever. But yeah, that friend stuff, I'll be like, if y'all friends, then y'all exchange numbers or become Facebook friends, Instagram, whatever. There's no reason for you to still be on Jack because most people are still gonna hit you up, even though you may have friends on there. The people that are not your friends are still hitting you up because you still have an active profile showing that you're single. And I guess you could change it and say that you're in a relationship. Because some people, which I think is so crazy, some people on the app that they have it on there. That's an option to put, I'm in a relationship. Okay, what more are you looking for? But to each his own. But
yeah, I find a lot, when I was on there, a lot of them would say, some of them would actually say that they weren't looking for a relationship in their profile, and then just say you went out on a date with them. Mm-hmm. Then they're actually looking for a relationship. So, that's contradictory to me.
Right.
It's like they're putting it in there to probably maybe is that to weed out the ones who they don't find attractive or not interested in. But then if they do meet somebody, it's kind of like top bottom.
Right.
You know how they say in there that they're strictly top, but then after you meet them, have sex with them, if you go out on a date or something, like that. Not even a date. Sometimes they'll ask you to buy, they want a bottom, or something, and then they'll give you those lame excuses. I don't do this for everybody, that type of shit. But how people put just.
I wouldn't have a problem with someone that says that on the app they say I'm not looking for a relationship, but then when they go out with me, they say they are. Especially if they talk about me, if they're saying now that I've met you, I feel like I think I want to give this relationship a try because people are open. I mean, they're free to change their mind at any time they want to. So that's how I took it, that they're saying like, I'm not necessarily looking for one, but then I met you. And it's like, oh, I want to be with you now. So, I mean, it could be that way. I mean, that's the way I took it, but yeah.
What do you think are some early red flags of dating? Then I'll ask the question again for relationships. If it leads to a relationship and you get into a relationship. So what do you think are some early red flags that should not be ignored? Or, do you have some of your own, or um, but or in general, in a general sense for the population, maybe one or two things that you should not look for. I mean, that you should look for as an early red flag on dating.
Well, I mean, it's really hard for me to have a list of all this stuff or whatever, and I'm not going to give that. What I will say is my thing for me is a lack of respect, because regardless of what the red flags are, I want to be respected, and I want to be with someone that wants to be with me and it's going to be honest, and just going to put in the time that it would take to build a relationship or to, go on a date or whatever, consistency or whatever. Don't take me on a date and then I don't hear from you until months later or whatever. You never say anything, kind of like ghosting or whatever. So my thing, as long as it falls within, being respectful, being courteous, and not putting me in any kind of harm or whatever, then I'm okay. So, but if the red flags go against that, then yeah, we will have issues. So I don't have a list. Do you have a list of things?
No, I don't have a lot of requirements for dating or relationships. I don't have a list. I just have the 2 or 3 that's a deal breaker for me.
Mm-hmm.
If I get into dating, I'm pretty laxed on that because we're just dating.
Yeah,
unless we decide we're seriously dating each other and we're not dating anyone else.
Yeah.
Now we make that commitment and those words come out of our mouths, then I'm taking that as we're working towards to go into a relationship that's going to be committed and monogamous.
Yeah.
Because I talk about monogamy, on a date. I'll talk about monogamy so I can fill out to see whether that person is monogamous or whether they're lying to me when they are, or what they say. But, I feel that out. Now, outside of the date, you can have sex, date many people, do whatever you want. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just because you're dating and there's no restriction, should be no restrictions on you. But once you go from casual dating to you both really liking each other, and you have things in common, and you feel that that's an honest person, or they feel you're an honest person, then you're going into serious dating. Then, I would have some, it's usually, monogamy is a big,
of course,
that's a big issue for me, and that's a red flag. If I hear that a person, if I'm going out on a date and then they tell me that they have cheated, not so much one time, but or whatever. You don't have to tell me all the details of your relationships. I don't need to know everything about your ex and what happened and what did or something, like that. But if I start hearing that I've cheated several times in a relationship, then that's a red flag to me, because most cheaters are going to always continue to cheat, even if they tell you that they're not. They're usually going to step outside the relationship, and they're going to lie to you and tell you that you're different, or or I'm not. No, I don't do that. I don't do that anymore. It usually takes a significant event, or either getting old, getting old, older, and or something happens for people who cheat to stop cheating. Just like a lot, just like with addictions and stuff. Sometimes it takes a catastrophic event for people to start. Usually, if they cheated,
they need to be cheated on.
Yeah, I can usually like like say I cheated in a relationship years ago. I've never cheated in a relationship, but every relationship I've been in, I have been cheated on. So and it was continuous, But sometimes you don't find that out till later. But
every relationship,
every relationship I've been in, and it's but that's their issue.
Mhm.
You know through therapy and counseling and stuff, but it can be very traumatic on you. But you go through therapy or counseling or whatever, and you really find out that that's their issues, and a lot of people, not in mainstream society, there's a lot of sex addicts out there, but it's also a lot of sex addiction, in our community too. It's pretty rampant. But that would be one of my red flags is, not the first time, like if they say, like years ago, yeah, I did in one of my relationships, and then I learned, and it was not, and I felt it was nothing I wanted to do again, and it hurt them, and it hurt me, that type of, I can overlook that, what I'm saying? But when I start hearing that you're, 2 or 3, that you done did it, to me, that's a red flag that's going to happen to you again.
Right.
They can lie to you and tell you that they ain't never cheated or they haven't done so and so to turn out that they serial cheaters.
Right.
But that's a red flag. Blatant disrespect. Sometimes people don't realize
cheating is disrespect.
Disrespect. But blatant disrespect. You brought up ghosting and stuff. Like that. I don't do the ghosting thing, or the big old silent treatment that, I'm finding a lot of people are having in these relationships and stuff. But ghosting, so like what you said, a person who, 2 or 3 weeks later, they're calling you or texting you or hitting you back up through the app or something, or a few months later. Yeah. To me, to me, they're just not into you, really. Yeah. If they're doing that, they're just not into you. And you just need to let that go. But that's a red flag. But people who are ghosting, that's a definite red flag to me. Everybody knows how these phones and cell phones and stuff work. We know how the apps work. We know how the texting and everything work. People know when they get their messages. Yeah, and I'm not gonna chase you. That's another thing. I'm not a chaser. So if you think you're gonna get with me and you think I'm gonna chase you, because I have a whole life going on, and I was doing fine before you. So I'm not about to chase you for what? What are you bringing? What are you offering me? I don't mind. I don't mind chasing somebody. I want them to chase after me too, because to me it shows that they're interested. I'm talking about somebody that's ghosting you. Ghosting. I'm not going to chase you. Right. You shown me who you are. You're not reaching back. I don't have return text messages. I'm not about to be hello. What's up? Okay, I get the point. You don't want to be, caught. So I'm not chasing you. Yeah. It's done. It's a wrap. Yeah, I wouldn't do that either. If I text somebody or they're texting me showing like they're interested, and then they start that, sporadic stuff. See whether if they ain't, they need to text me, and they, they start doing that, or 2 or 3 days later. I mean, they don't have to text you, right then or whatever. You know what I mean? But within a day or two of meeting somebody, or whatever. If they're interested and you're interested in them, you need to be texted back. Yeah. And if you get up a rapport and then you are interested in each other, then I think you need to, I think you need to text. It doesn't have to be all day or whatever, but communicate with each other, like throughout the day, right. Whatever. And some people aren't really big texters. I'm not a big texter, or whatever. I prefer to talk in person, because I'll run my mouth. But I prefer to talk in person and meet the person and feel the body language and the vibe and stuff like that. And I can't be kind of distant in text, it doesn't have anything to do with the person. Yeah. Sometimes it's just more when I see them in person, then I'm more talkative. Mm-hmm. And then but I will send a text out, throughout the day, to see how they're doing, how the day is going. It's not going to be all day long or all night long, but I will do that to let them know that I'm interested. And then if they're interested, they would text back and stuff too. But when they get into that ghosting, like 2 or 3 weeks later, then I'm not even going to entertain you, right? For it, or whatever. Yeah. And I know with the apps, there's a lot of ghosting going on in the apps, Yeah. So that would be one of my red flags, like disrespect. I don't get into abuse, so you're not gonna put your hands on me. I'm not gonna put my hands on you. And if it ever happened, it's never happened in the 2 relationships I've been in. But if it had happened, that's it. Mm-hmm. And then like I said, the infidelity is those are my red flags. I don't worry too much about all the other stuff. Sometimes a whole bunch of lies add up to a big one. But I know that people tell inconsistencies and little lies in relationships. I tend to overlook those. I don't know sometimes if you should, because of they can build up and then they end up turning into something big. But I tend to overlook that. I don't really, none of us are perfect. We all have some insecurities and issues and stuff, like that. I can overlook most people's, and deal with it perfectly fine. It doesn't really affect me, especially at my age now. A lot of stuff like we talked about last week, stuff that bothered me, may have affected me or bothered me when I was younger. It doesn't affect me.
Right.
And I can overlook and settle down into a relationship perfectly fine, as long as there's not the infidelity and the blatant disrespect. There's some, sometimes you don't know you're probably being disrespectful or whatever, or you just check yourself, communicate and talk or whatever. But blatant disrespect, where you intentionally go out to hurt that person's, heart or feelings, to punish them or something, like that I can't deal with. So those are red flags for me if you're doing it dating, and then also that'll end the relationship.
Exactly.
Or whatever. So how do you, so just say some red flags pop up on dating. How would you address them? Do you just come out and address it?
Oh, I do. Because mine are, like I said, mine are just if you're being disrespectful or if you're causing any kind of harm, and whatever that comes in, whatever package it comes in, if it falls in those categories, I'm gonna let you know, because like you said, maybe you're doing it unknowingly. Maybe you don't know that this has offended me or that this was disrespectful because no one else probably called you on the carpet, or the person before me, they didn't have an issue with you doing this or whatever. So if it's an issue, I'm going to let you know, because I don't want it to continue and for it to harbor up and then I explode or whatever. But I'm not going to just cut it off either, because I want to give you the benefit of the doubt that maybe you didn't know, or maybe this is something you've done for a number of years and it's become a part of you or whatever. So I'm gonna let you know, hey, that's something that's unacceptable for me. However, I think you're a nice person. I think you're a good person. So can we work on, erasing that, eradicating that out of your life? Or, let's work on that, because for me to stay and be a part of your life, that's going to have to go, So I want to give them the opportunity to have that conversation, correct it if need be, or let's move on, So yeah, I would address it. No sense of letting it, keep lingering on, and then it becomes a big issue. And then they're like, well, why you never said something? Well, I did. I'm telling you now. Oh, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you. Yeah.
So say you are on the app, or just say you out at the club, or you meet somebody at the grocery store or whatever, and then you go out, you go out on a date, and then say you get another date out of it, and you both jive, and then you like each other. How long do you think? How long should you date someone before committing? Is it weeks, months, a year? How long do you think it takes to get to know somebody really, truly? To me, you don't really know somebody until you're actually in a relationship with them. Dating, people can put up facades and everything.
Right.
But once you're in a relationship with somebody, that's when you actually really get to know them. You know what I'm saying? But how long do you think you should date? Somebody should date
until you become a couple.
Until you start moving it into that relationship realm.
I mean, it varies for everybody, but for me, I want to say that, I mean, at least a few months, or for a few months up until a year. But I don't think I would make a person wait that long. I think I think in a few months or so, 3, 4, 5, 6 months, I kind of got a good picture of who you are. You kind of got a good picture of who I am. And we just go from there. I mean, the thing about relationships is you're gonna find out stuff throughout the whole relationship. You're gonna find something out every day, because you're gonna have different experiences. You're gonna be around different people. You know, how do you act when you're at the restaurant in front of people? How do you act when you're, you know, at a house party or whatever? You know, different scenarios. So I'm gonna constantly be learning stuff about you. But I think when I have that peace, when I have that calmness about you that says, I think I got a good one here. You know, he treats me nice. You know, we don't really argue a lot. Or even if we do argue, we, you know, we settle it like adults. It's not something where we're fighting and we don't talk for days and all that kind of stuff. You know, he respects me. You know, I just have a good vibe. It just feels good. Once I have that, you know, I have that check in my heart, my spirit, whatever, then I'm like, okay, I can see this going into an actual couple and we can go ahead and, you know, make this happen or whatever. So yeah.
That's interesting that you said about the waiters. You know, because you know they have that saying that's out there. You know that you know, therapists. I'm assuming therapists or, you know, psychologists, psychiatrists came up with that. That it, you know, that's a red flag. That's a warning. Like if you go out on a date with somebody, you know, you're dating somebody, and if they go into a restaurant, you know, and yell and scream at the waiter or the staff, you know, or whatever, how they treat the wait staff, they say that's a sign that that's how they're going to treat you also.
Oh wow.
Do you believe in that? You believe that? I've heard it so many times. That if they're going to treat you that way too, if they're in there yelling, I don't think it's an absolute waiter that they're going to have that type of behavior with you too, as the relationship or so progressive.
I don't think it's an absolute, but it does show me that you're capable of going there because there are certain things that like if I love you, or I respect you or whatever, there's a way I'm going to talk to you. There's a way I'm going to treat you or whatever. I don't know this person, and evidently I have a point I'm trying to get across. So I may act out of character in front of you with this person because there's no whatever there. However, for me, I want to be respectful to anybody, whether you're the custodian or you're the CEO. I want to, you know, you're no better than that person or whatever. So I don't think it's always an absolute. They could be having a bad day. I mean, there's so many things that now this is consistent, you know, then at least you know that, okay, this is in that person. And it may come out. Hopefully it doesn't come out with you. But at this point, I don't care if it doesn't come out with you. We need to address it because that's not something that
what is going on over there?
How are you looking at my computer?
It just popped up, okay?
I know, because
I can see it just like you can see mine, but I'm like, what the hell is all that? I know what it is, but you know, you just gonna leave it up.
I can't do anything about it. It happens like it happened last time.
Oh wow. Okay. So just say you are in a relationship. What if say you get into a relationship? What are your non-negotiables?
I think it's the same thing as the red flags for me. It's just being respectful and not causing me any harm. You know. So yeah.
Yeah.
And whatever that falls into. You know, cheating is disrespectful. You
causes harm.
Yeah, you calling me out of my name. Like I really have anybody that knows me knows. Smith, I really have a problem with you calling me out of my name or calling me something that I have not presented to you. And even if you think I presented that to you, if I haven't told you that I'm comfortable being called this or that or whatever, then please don't do that or whatever. So whatever, you know, package that comes in, the disrespect and harming me would be my non-negotiables.
Yeah. Okay. And then are you so you probably just really answered the next question because I was going to ask, you know, I was going to put up how do you handle conflict in a relationship, and do we expect perfection and bail when we realize our partner is human?
So the first part was what? How do you handle? I can't
see that no more. it says, how do you handle conflict in a relationship? You kind of answer, you kind of answer
Well,
it a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, when you have conflict, I don't think it's like any other, even if I was with a friend, we need to talk about it. We need to address it, and let's try to make sure it doesn't happen again. Hey, whoever is watching. But yeah,
There's some people in the chat.
okay, hey y'all, hey. But yeah, I would just want to address it and not let it, linger on. Because if it happened once, it can happen again, So let's try not to, and especially if it affects us in a big way, let's go ahead and try to resolve this now. So yeah, that's how I would handle any kind of conflict.
There's always going to be there's going to be some conflict. It just depends on the type of conflict that it is. People argue in relationships, but it depends. To me, it depends on how you handle those relationships. Me and you were talking about this the other day. Of like, do you like when you're having say you're having an argument, not rage, not where you're attacking the person, right? But or they're attacking you. But just you just have a disagreement, or you have an argument, and then do you take a little time away from that argument, and do you just say, okay, well, let's not separate or nothing like that, but just say, I'm gonna take a few hours and go off to myself, so I can think, or we can calm down, or do you stay there and kind of just want to hash it all out right then and get it over with, or do you I'm the type that, when if we're having a bad disagreement or something, like that, I want to kind of de-escalate it and so I just want to leave the situation and then, not talk to you, we could still, I might say, let's give me a little bit of time, and then I'll talk to you later, or I'll text you later or stuff. I don't want to talk right now. Depends on what the situation is. And then, but I wouldn't go a day or two, or the rest of that. You know what I'm saying? The rest of that whole day or something without at least texting or communicating, or if they text me or whatever, I would text back. I wouldn't ghost, and I would not, but in that text, I might say, okay, right now I can't talk about it, or let's talk about it later, or I need to rest or something and get myself together, so we can talk about it sensibly, so it doesn't turn into this big thing. And then I'll come back, and text or call or something later, or they'll text or call. Some people will ignore that text or call for days and weeks. You know what I'm saying? And then the wedge comes in between the relationship. So that's how I would kind of handle conflict. I wouldn't go no days or weeks or something, like that, unless the person has done that to me, showing me that they don't want to talk to me no more, or ghosting you or whatever. And then when they come back a few weeks, because it has happened, then they come back a few weeks later wanting to talk. I don't want to talk to them by that time. By that time, I'm over it. I'm still hurting or whatever, but by that time, I'm over it. And that, to me, that's disrespectful in the relationship. And but I don't like that type of, that's like non-negotiable to me also too. But I don't like that type of conflict where you can't come back and talk to each other within that same day, or either early the next day or something, like that, with a text or a phone call or in person.
Right.
And so, and then also, do we expect perfection in our relationships? So like when we meet people, I know people, when you meet them for dating or you see somebody, you tend to put them up on pedestals. I hate being put up on a pedestal. I hate that because it's too hard for me. The fall is too hard, and I can't live up to those expectations that you have of me, because a lot of times they don't see you as a human. They see you as this perfect thing, and they put you up there, and you can't live up to that. And then when something happens, then you disappoint them, then they want to bail, or or it turns into some big conflict or whatever.
Right.
So to me, there's no such thing as perfection anyway.
Right.
You can do good or well and do your best, but that, to me, there's no such thing as perfection. And people sometimes they do want to see you as perfect, but
why do they see you as that? Why would you even consider another person perfect? Like what is going on? Why would you even do
People
that?
have all type of drama and conflict in their lives, and that's happened to them sometimes early on, or just from
That
things
makes them want to see people
that
perfect.
leads them into certain different dysfunctions and stuff like that. So,
Yeah, I would. Yeah,
you know, and people do something. They can meet people, and people are putting forth on dates. You know, they're putting forth their best effort. You know, or they're lying. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would really have an issue with why would you even consider me being perfect? Like where is that coming from? And I know like I can take it to religion, I can take it to like religion, and people, you know, they see like the preacher or whatever as this man is perfect or whatever, and I'm like, what makes you think that? Like, what in you thinks that this man is any different than the man over here? I mean, you he can fall just like the other man can fall. So it's like, what's in you that sees that? Or is it just something you've been told that the preacher is perfect? Or, you know, I don't know if I would want to be with anybody that thinks I'm perfect like that. Like, you think I do everything right? You know, where's that coming from? So
Yeah. Yeah, it happens. Even though you don't like to be up there, but they'll put you up there, and then when you show that you're, you know, when something happens and you show that you are a human being just like they are, then they want to bail, or
they're let down because they put up false expectations.
Right.
You can't expect me to be what you have this, you know, this picture in your mind. Let me be me.
Yeah.
You know, I'm no different than anyone else.
Yeah. And I think some people do go into relationships looking at their partner as they're the perfect one. You know, they're perfect, or put them up like that, and they can't live up to that. And then the relationship could fall apart and stuff, because now they don't, you know.
Yeah.
And then they want to bail.
Yeah.
You know, or they want to go look for something what they think is better or whatever. So, and that kind of leads into the longevity of a relationship, because to me, you know, we can't be perfect. You know, we can't be perfect, and sometimes that your relationship can end because the person thought you were perfect. They realize that you ain't no more.
And if they bail and go to the next one, they're gonna have that same issue if you consider everyone you get into a relationship with or that you're dating that they're perfect or whatever. They're gonna let you down.
Right. We let each other down.
So you're gonna keep you. It's gonna be a cycle. So that's why I say it's them. Like, what in you is causing you to see me or anyone else that you're with perfect? So that's something that they really need to go deep inside and figure that out, because you're just gonna continue that cycle. If everyone you with, you're putting them on this pedestal thinking that they're perfect, because it's not. You could be the perfect one.
Perfect for that. You can be perfect for them and them perfect for you, but not perfect.
Right. Not perfect. Yes, because that's not.
And we all have flaws and issues and insecurities.
Exactly.
And you know, but you know, you kind of want to, if you're in a relationship, you kind of want to stick with the person and work through those type of issues and stuff, and know the person or whatever, not just throw them or discard them and throw them away, because now they're not perfect to you, the way you put them up to be.
Yeah.
You know, and then so that goes to that saying, you know, be what you're looking for. So like when you're dating, you know, dating or relationships, you know, are people putting forth a false, you know, their false self at first, or are they being, you know, inauthentic? I like when I go out on a date, you know, I like you to be authentic. You know, you don't have to tell me everything about your life or your past or anything like that. You kind of learn stuff like that as you start dating. It gives you other stuff to talk about, and then when you get into a relationship, you know, you learn certain things, and then it's stuff that you accept and things, you know, like that. But when I go out on a date, I prefer the person to be authentic and not just making up shit
Right.
and saying stuff, bloviating, making themselves seem like this grandiose person and they're this, and that's not really them, and they can't sustain it, they can't live up to that. And they're putting forth this, so maybe so they can get another date out of it, or to maybe lead to a relationship, but then it's going to eventually destroy the relationship because that's not really you, and you cannot maintain that throughout the relationship. But people, if you're authentic, and sometimes it's hard to tell when people are being authentic. You can easily be fooled, and sometimes you can pick right up on it. But I like them when they're authentic and they're telling me about themselves and their real selves and not this fake self. And then that's easier for me to digest, and then even want another date or 2 or 3 dates when you're authentic. I have been fooled before, just like we all can. But I kind of look for authenticity when I go out on a date, because it kind of tells me sometimes, how you really would be in the relationship too, But I say be what you're looking for, if you're putting forth this and you say, this is me, this is me, this is me, and or you say, I'm looking for this, then you be that too, or be working towards that, working towards that. Doesn't have anything to do with monetary, like money and what you have. To me, it doesn't have anything to do with how much you have or how much you make, or I have this car, or I have this. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, just real authenticity. This is me. This is me with my flaws and with my, my good points and my bad points. And then this is what I'm working on. I work on this, or whatever. And I strive towards this, different stuff, like that. I can take that better than lying to me.
Yes, of course.
Making yourself out to be something that you're not, and then you find out later.
Right. You've been lying all this whole time.
Right. So, talking about relationships, what do you think of, because there's all type of relationships out there now. There's, they got the thruples. They got. It's just so many. People got all type of things. They're in open relationships. So, what do you? I'm gonna play this video that you found. I'm gonna play this video that you found.
And I have to use the restroom while the video is playing.
Okay. And then, so I got to sit here and be quiet and wait for you to come back.
No, you can play the video. I don't want to pee on myself.
I don't want you peeing in that chair either.
Oh, whatever.
So this is going to be our oh no you didn't moment, of the week, okay? And then I'll play it, and then when you come back, I'll let you, since you picked out this video, I'm gonna let you talk on it. Sorry, folks. He went to the bathroom. He should be back here in a second, or 2 or 3 seconds.
Hello, Crystal. This is Fred.
Hi, I'm Quilla.
And we are excited that you decided to be a part of our team. And I know you wanted to see a video of both of us so you can make your further decision whether you wanted to be serious about this or not. And I'm going to tell you out the gate, I'm all the way for it. And Shaquilla, I gave her a little explanation of what was going on about you helping us out. And she seemed, I'm going to let her tell you herself that she's willing to go for it.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to having an assistant. Definitely.
Yeah, like every couple needs an assistant, especially the way things are going on today. Now, I'm going to get straight to it. This is my first time in any type of polygamous type of situation this is my first time ever.
First of all, wait a minute. Who the fuck said something about a polygamy relationship? That's not what this for.
This is why I was trying to get you to understand though when I was trying to break it down to you. So Anyway,
You ain't breaking
this
nothing down to me.
this the first time that I was, babe, come on, man, please. The first time I
You
ever.
never broke nothing down to me. What the fuck is you talking about?
Babe, didn't I try to
I ain't
explain
into
it?
sharing shit. The only thing y'all gonna be sharing is the bullet between both of y'all and keep playing with. You keep playing with.
Whoa.
Right.
Crystal, this is for.
So what do you think about that? That was our oh no you didn't moment.
Right.
Oh no you didn't.
So my thing is communication. Evidently there was not any communication going forth, or he was trying to trick her into something. Like he had in his mind what he wanted to do, but she thought they were just getting an assistant. No, he talking about no, we getting a whole third person to join our relationship. And she's like, what the fuck?
He wasn't honest with her. What happened? You know, he wasn't honest with her about what he was actually talking about.
Right.
You know, it sounds like he intentionally misled her.
Yeah.
But maybe he thought that once it all got out there, that she would agree with it. You know,
and put it on camera.
So yeah. and I'm finding that a lot of relationships now, you know, not a lot, but you know, they are open. You know, a lot of couples, especially a lot of older couple relationships, I'm finding out the ones that are in couples, they're having open relationships. And then now we're getting into the thruples, you know, where, you know, the throuple could be, you know, 2 women and a man, or 2 men and a woman, or 3 women or 3 men, you know, where they're actually committed. You know, what do you think about that? Like being in that type of relationship, like a committed relationship where it's just, and y'all aren't stepping outside of the relationship. You're not cheating, or, but y'all 3 are monogamous within that relationship. I know some people. I know 2 so far that are in thruples, and 1 that was in one that's not anymore.
I mean, if that's what you decide to do, go for it. As long as the communication is there, everyone is on the same page. You know, whatever. I don't want anyone telling me how I should date, so I'm not going to tell you how you should date. If that's something that you're into, go for it. But please. Allow each person to have a say and make their own mind if this is something they want to do. Already have the parameters, you know, that this relationship is going to consist of, because I don't want to wake up one day and, you know, you got 2 of you are doing your own thing and I'm over here. No, let's have our, you know, it has to have rules, or we have to have, you know, something in writing or something mentally, knowing that this is how our relationship is going to work or whatever. As long as, you know, you guys aren't harming each other, you're not being disrespectful towards each other, and it works, have it, you know.
So just say you go out on a date, okay, and just say somebody asks you out, or vice versa, but somebody asks you out on a date. Who should pay for the first date, and how does that work? You know, do you split the bill, or do you go Dutch, or should the person who asked you out pay for the date? Me and you had this discussion not yesterday, but you know, maybe Tuesday or something about this too. And I told you what I do, but you told me what you do also.
Yeah, I mean, in a nutshell, whoever wants to pay. You know, whatever. I mean, however it goes, it needs to be paid, so someone has to pay it or whatever. But for each individual situation, it's going to be different. I can tell you what, most times with me, I go in always thinking, and I know people, and I think you had mentioned it, if someone, and I've heard this, but I've never really went by it. If someone asks you on a date that they're saying, you know, I'm going to pay for it because I'm asking you. I mean, I don't really care. I always go to any date I go on, I go in with my money or whatever. I'm not going in there without my wallet or not knowing that I'm going to pay, you know, have to pay for my food or whatever. But when I do go on a date, I do go in thinking we're just going to split it down the middle. You know, you pay for yours or I pay for mine, or just half the ticket or whatever. Because now, if I have a whole lot of drinks or whatever, I don't expect you to pay for all my drinks, especially if you're not a drinker or whatever. But I don't expect anyone to pay for me unless they want to, you know. And you're gonna let me know. Oh no, I got it. And I've gone on many dates where, you know, I'm reaching whatever, and they're like, I got it. I'm like, okay. I probably have not done that. I mean, not that many times. I mean, I have nothing against it, but I never So that never crosses my mind to go on a date and I pay for someone's food. I mean, I will. I just go in there thinking, we're just gonna split down the middle. We're both adults. We both have jobs. We both have debit cards, credit cards, whatever. You pay for yours, I pay for mine. But if we want to treat each other, I think that's cute too. I think it's very sexy, too, for a guy to, pay for my food or whatever, or I pay for his, because I have done it, but that's not, the norm with me most of the times or whatever, because they already have their card out most of the time. So yeah, it has to be paid. So I don't care who pays it, for me.
So, I think there's an exception to my rule. I think whoever asked the person out on the date first should be the one to pay for the date. So if I ask you out, then in my mind, I'm going to pay for the date, and pay for the, everything that we're doing right there. But there is the exception to the rule where if say the other person asks me out, now there's been times where if it's really expensive or something, like that, sometimes I could tell by the expression on their face that they overstepped, and it's like, ooh, because sometimes they're trying to impress you or whatever.
Yeah.
They may pick a restaurant that's really out of their budget, and I'm okay with that. But when I, if I could pick up on that body language or or expressions and stuff, like that, then I'll probably step in and say, well, here, I got this time, and the next, especially if you're going to have another one, and you think you're going to have another with them, and you like them, and they like you, and you're expecting another one, and then you pick it up the next time, or whatever.
That's nice.
But usually it's like whoever asks out. So if the person asks me out, then I usually expect. Now I'm always going to have my credit card on me, no matter what. So if something happens, I can pay.
Okay.
And I ain't washing dishes.
Right.
Or being taken to jail.
Right.
But yeah, my thing is it's like whoever asks the person out, or unless you make it a head time. Well, let's go Dutch or something. If you say something like, I'm not going to ever say that, but they may say that or whatever. And that's my exception. I think whoever asks each other out, on the first date or whatever. As you start progressing down the line, you just kind of, one might pay, the other one might pay. If you get more dates, and then maybe the next one will pay, and then you pay, whatever and stuff. Or you get into a relationship, y'all work out those dynamics together. Sometimes whoever makes the most money, that one pays for the more expensive restaurants or the more expensive dates or vacations.
Right.
And then the other one, they pay their share. It's still their share and comparable to what you're doing, but but their budget is, what they make is different than yours. So they make, they may pay for street fried chicken, and you may pay for yard burger. You know what I'm saying? Because the prices are different, but their budget can pay for this, and you understand and accept that kind of stuff when you're in a relationship. But on a date, I think that whoever the person is, who asks that person out on a date. But like you say, everybody has their own way they do stuff, and that's how you got to do it, or whatever. But sometimes, but also you got to communicate that on dates too.
You do.
So you don't,
You do.
you know, whatever. So
and
then,
it's good that you deal with the money thing, early, because that, it's going to tie into a relationship. Like you say, when you're going on vacations and stuff like that. So go ahead and already have that, situated, how the money situation goes or whatever.
And then our question here, we pretty much answer that and, kind of be what you're looking for. Do guys have high standards that they don't meet themselves? Like sometimes you meet these guys and they, they're bragging about their car. They're bragging about, how much money they make. A lot of times you find out they don't have any of that, really. Right. But they're bragging about it sometimes to impress you, or whatever. But they don't have high standards. But I like to live like this, and I only want somebody. I will not date anybody or be in a relationship with somebody who don't make as much as I make or who is not on my level. I've heard that a lot. I've heard that a lot. But then they don't. But that's not them. That's not them anyway. They expect you to be that way, but they don't meet the standards that they want you to be.
So I'm good, because you said this is a person that has all of this.
Just
Well, I'm taking it as the person. So this person, he has all this. He expects you to have it too. Is what you're saying? Like the person, he lives in a nice place. He has a nice car. He wants you to live in a nice place.
They want you to say, yeah.
Hmm.
And that's said a lot. That ain't just a little. That's said a lot.
Yeah.
You know, they have high standards of what they want.
Mhm.
You know, or what they say they want or want you to be, but they're not that themselves.
How is he not that himself? If he has that,
No, I said the person who, if somebody's trying to date you, or, you know, or whatever, and they say, well, I don't want that person because they only make 30K. You know, like somebody's trying to date somebody, or you know, or they're trying to date you, and the person says, the person could be cute, nice body, you know, whatever and stuff, but you know, no, you know, they'll say like, you know, no, they're not on my level. I need somebody that's on my level. I need somebody who's making 200K a year.
Mhm.
I need somebody who drives this. I need somebody who lives in this neighborhood or lives here.
so he is this. He's that.
He may be that, but the person that he meets is maybe that person who he meets makes 30K.
So he's being who he is.
I'm not,
But this person is not. So it goes the
no,
other way.
that's not what I'm saying. This person has this.
But he expects you. This
And
person expects you to be.
He expects you to be on the same level in order to date him.
So you're changing it because
No, I'm not changing it. In order,
you
for
said
him to
be what you. That
was in the last question.
But you brought it up again. You brought it up.
I'm just saying. I asked the question: do you need to be what you're looking for? You know. But as far as when you're dating somebody, the question here says, do guys have high standards that they don't meet themselves? So this person here, just say, I'm talking about the person, just say this person right here does have, makes 200K.
That's what,
okay.
Yeah, uh-huh.
But then this person over here who could be the right person for him or her, you know, that person right there, say they meet somebody and they like that person. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, so you're not saying that this person is not. He doesn't have to. This person over here doesn't have to. This person here doesn't have to be who he is because he's already that.
The person here is saying, I like you.
Mm-hmm.
This person here, this person makes 200K. This person makes 30K.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This person lives in a apartment. This person lives in a big old house or something. And this person drives a nice car, and this person drives what people might perceive as a regular car. Okay, so and that person makes 30K. This person
who
makes
has the high standards.
Wait a minute, Charles. Okay, this person
who has the high standards is what I'm asking.
Wait a minute, I'm trying to explain it to you. Okay, this person here has makes 200K. That person makes 30K. This person here likes this person who makes 30. He meets him and he's like, oh, he's a nice person, you know, oh, he's cute, you know, or whatever and stuff. But you know, he's not on my level, you know. So his standards are not up to my standards. He's not on my level. So even though that person, one that makes 30K could be a good match for you, and you can date, get into a relationship, and you may be happy, but you discard that person or don't consider them, you know, or whatever, because they don't. You know, because your standards are too high, maybe too high, and you won't consider that person because they don't make as much money as you, or they're not on the same social level as you think you are.
I get that, but that's not what that question is saying.
It says, do guys have high standards that they don't meet themselves?
So he has a high standard.
He has a high standard.
What standard doesn't he meet?
I'm not saying he doesn't meet the standard. I'm saying that this one here is saying, I'm not going to date you because you don't meet my standard, my high standard. Is the standard too high? Do we have too high of standards? Is what I'm saying of why we can't be in a decent, loving, faithful relationship because you're not, you know, your standards are too high, you know, and you're excluding this person who could be right for you, but you're excluding them because your standards are too high and they're not, you know. And they don't meet your standards, you know.
Yeah, they don't meet, but you're saying they don't meet themselves. It's saying like this person with the high standards doesn't bring something to the table. I'm reading the question like it is. I get what you're saying, but it's not going with this question.
Yeah, right. You're right.
Okay. You see it?
Okay, I probably worded it wrong.
Yeah.
But what you're saying is the guys have high standards, you know, and then also too, like guys, it can apply to this guy here might be making 30K. This guy might be making 200K, but his standards might be higher than what like you see what I'm saying? Well, I'm not going to date somebody who doesn't make 200K, even though I make 30K. I want somebody who can bring something to the table to me, or whatever, and then and I can acquire this, acquire that from that guy or what. So I guess it goes both ways. But yeah, I probably worded the question wrong. But what I'm trying to say is, do we overlook a good, viable person because our standards could be too high of the stuff that we're asking them to be? And some of those standards you can also make 200K and all this stuff, and still you don't meet those standards that you're requiring that person to meet too. You know what I'm saying?
Because everybody's in a growing stage. Because the me today might not be me tomorrow. This may be my situation now, but it might not be my situation tomorrow. And my thing is, like you said, just be yourself, be authentic, going in. And I don't mind dating someone that may, in our eyes, seem like they have a little bit more, whatever. And if they don't have an issue with it, then we're good. However, I'm never gonna settle I'm never gonna settle for where I'm at. And there may be things that you've done and that in life that can help me. So I don't mind being with someone that may be a little bit more educated or a little bit more established or whatever. If anything, I want to pick up on those, good habits or those good decisions that you made in life to better me. But there are people that be like, I'm not doing that. Either you come to the table with it, or like I say, I'm gonna go somewhere else. So you could be with a good person here, but because I'm not at that standard that you said, you're gonna just bypass me or get rid of me.
So okay, we're kind of going over here. So there's a lot to unpack with dating and relationships. There's just a lot. So, we may do a part 2 somewhere down the line or whatever, but just so in the area of time,
we can talk about my final thoughts.
Let's do that. And then I'm gonna put this up here as a question.
What is it?
That could probably be our last question though. Why do we step outside I'm gonna do air quotes here. Why do we step outside of our committed relationships that we claim we want and or seeking? So when we might put out in the apps, like you say, I'm looking for a relationship, or you go out on a date with somebody and you say, I'm looking for a relationship, I'm looking to be committed or monogamous, but then when you get in them, then you end up stepping outside of them. But you don't want to leave the relationship, but you end up stepping outside the relationship. What makes us, or what we can't speak in for everybody, but what do you think makes us step outside of the relationship? In the committed relationship, we say that we want. I know there's sex addiction, there's other types of addictions, in it or whatever. Or sometimes people saw you as perfect and you turns out you're human. But what do you
And like you said, we can't really, because I'm not a doctor, I can't diagnose anyone, so I don't know if it's an addiction or whatever. But I know some people, when they're stepping out, it has to be some kind of unhappiness there. What in this relationship is causing you to be so unhappy that you feel like you need to go or whatever? And then also, I think we never stop looking at others or whatever. Maybe someone really caught your eye and it's like you just can't get it over, you can't get over that feeling or whatever. And one day you just get the nerve to like, okay, I'm gonna approach the person or whatever, which is not the right thing to do. So maybe that's a reason why. I mean, that people, step out. That's the only two that I can really think. I'm sure there's more reasons why people, but for me, it has to stem from somewhere in there. You're unhappy. And not to say that the other person is making you unhappy. It may be something internal. Maybe a lifestyle or a mindset has changed in you.
Your own unhappiness.
Yeah, your own unhappiness.
You're happy with yourself.
Right. Something going on internal that may cause that. But it has to, because if everything is right, why even, like they say, the grass, you think the grass is green on the, not necessarily or whatever, but something got you to that point that you feel like out there is where I need to be and not in here in our little, our little relationship, our safety that we have here. And then like, I think guys, we're always looking, but that doesn't mean that you should touch.
Yeah, and I don't, a lot of guys, what you just said, it's like that. That's not for me. I'm not always looking. When I get into the relationship, I'm looking at my partner. I'm not out there. Look, I see other people. I see everything around me. Right. I can see.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But it doesn't enter into my mind that I want to go and jeopardize my relationship for that one night stand or just to go have sex with them every now and then or to pick up, whatever. My relationship,
more.
It will, even if someone comes on to me and I'm not with my partner or whatever, it pops into my head, I'll be friendly to the person, and cordial. But if they're flirting with you coming on and stuff, like that, I put the stop there, so, and it's not even always that I say that I have a partner, or I have a boyfriend or whatever. It's just like, I put that stop there, I know that, not to cross that line. And then and how I handle them, to keep them at bay.
Yeah.
It's,
And you bring up a good point, because sometimes that person, say you're at a house party, you're not with your mate or whatever, and someone shows you attention, and maybe you've been in a relationship for a while that, y'all kind of don't do that anymore or as much as you should. And so now this person is showing you all this attention, they're flirting with you, and that's a door. But like you say, you shut it down. You have to know when you have to know when to close that door. Like, okay, this is really making me feel good because my man ain't really giving me all this right now, but I'm committed to him, and I'm not going to allow this to go any further. And but then that's that unhappiness though. You need to go home and tell your man, look, I wish you would flirt with me more. I wish you would tell me this and be interested in me and what I'm doing more, because right now I feel like, and not to say that's an excuse, because regardless of what he's doing, that should be a conversation you guys need to have. You don't say, because this is why I fell in bed with this person. No, you fell in bed with that person because you want to have sex or whatever.
So you can always, if you're in full control of your faculties, you can, we always should know what we're doing and what to do and not to do.
Yeah.
If you go outside your relationship, for sex, emotional cheating, whatever you're doing, you choose to do that, because you can always choose not to do that. Right. So if you do that, to me, you are choosing to do that. The only exception I have with that is if you are a sex addict, and then addicts, that it's a whole different ball game with them, as far as addictions, because I know alcohol, drugs, and stuff can play a part in making people lose their inhibitions to actually go and do stuff. But usually, even with alcohol and drugs and stuff, like that, you still have some sense of what you're doing, and you can usually shut it down and not do it. Now I know drugs and alcohol and stuff will make you do it more, because you do lose those inhibitions and you like cross that line. But to me, that means you've had it in your head to do it anyway. Okay, but so you can always stop yourself from crossing that line to to go to cheat or whatever.
Exactly.
With the addiction part of it, that's where it gets tricky and it's hard, because with the addiction, that means you're not really in your right frame of mind, and then your mind is telling you, because you need to feed that addiction. You're not with the addiction; they're not thinking. You know, they're not thinking, because the only thing they're in is in that addiction phase. And then they don't even, sometimes they don't even realize they've done that until after they've done the act. And then they realize, oh shit, what did I do? Doesn't mean they're not gonna go back and do it again, because addiction is gonna keep taking them back and taking them back. You know, but if there's no addiction there, to me, if there's no addiction there, you can always cut that off. And you know.
So do you believe the addiction gives you the excuse?
No, it doesn't give you the excuse, but the addiction is going to take over. The addiction has taken over. If you know anything about addictions, you know that the addiction takes over, and not your conscious and not your rational thinking.
I've read about it, but I don't know for sure because I've never. I don't think I've ever been addicted to anything.
Yeah, I'm not addicted. I'm addicted to sugar, but to anything else.
You have a choice.
Yeah, and I have a choice. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it is. You know, I'm not. It's a joke that I'm saying.
Yeah, I know.
Because I can say when I don't want it, I don't. But I can still go in there and eat a whole bunch of candy. But I'll say, okay, that's enough. Stop. You know, whatever. I can cut, but it's still that's a choice. So it's not really an addiction. Addiction is just a joke.
Yeah.
But I can always cut that off. You know, just because someone's flirting with me, or I find somebody attractive and stuff, you know, like that. I know what's right here.
Yeah.
I know I don't want to ruin that. So I have the decision and the choice to say, you know, thank you, but no, you know, I'd rather stay here in my stable relationship.
Some people say, "Oh yeah, he caught me at a weak moment or whatever." But you still made the choice.
You made the choice. We all have weak moments. Yeah. We all have so. So to me, it's always a choice when you're cheating, unless addiction or something, or somebody's forcing you to do it. And that means they're gonna have to have a gun or knife to you, making you do something, you know, like that.
And if I was with somebody that actually had an addiction, first we'd have to get that. How you get it documented or whatever, and that probably would end it for me. I still would, you know, be a friend to that person, but I don't know how I can be in a relationship knowing this is what I want, and you can't give that to me because of this addiction you have. So yeah, that would be a deal breaker for me. However, I'll still be that friend that, you know, you can talk to, especially if we've been together for, you know, some time and I've got to know you and I really like you and I like our times together. I don't want to just erase you out of our life. I just know the boundaries that must be in place now, since this has been discovered that you have this addiction.
Yeah. So we're going to end this here in a little bit, and so you can get to your
final thoughts.
So your final thoughts, and
which will probably open a little bit of this discussion, but we're gonna leave it to like maybe one or two sentences. Yeah.
So we're gonna do that, but you know, I had came across this. His name is Jai. He's called Jai the Gentleman,
Hey, Jai.
and he used to live here in Dallas, and I think you know him.
I do. Hey.
But I thought what he said here was very poignant. You know, so I'm gonna play. It's probably about 2 minutes, and then I'm gonna play that, and then we'll go into your final thoughts, and you know, because you know, you'd like to give a little bit of some you know, maybe people to take away with them, you know, or whatever. But I thought what he said was really, you know, it hit home, and it says. But you know, in his title is "Ain't You Tired?" Black gay guy explains why dating is needlessly difficult in 2023.
Okay, speak, brother.
Okay, so let's listen.
I don't know, but the norm, the cultural norm that I see, is that gay men will throw ourselves at everything.
Feel free to reach out to any one of us.
Yeah, the commercial. We should send him this video to let us know. Hey, we can go into your
but
video.
Ourselves. As if that car will cuddle you at night. As if that degree will keep you warm. As if that job, that promotion will make you smile. And sometimes I just feel so bad for us. That life and culture has taught us that being accomplished is much more important than being happy. That living is more important than loving. I think that's a shame. But I think that the bigger lesson is that we can give for all these external things. We will give and suffer and do in the same way that women do. A woman will break her back for her children, for her husband, for her career, for that bag. A woman will do all of those things as if those things are her. But then when it comes to, you know, taking a day off for self-care, for a lot of women, in my experience, it's hard to make that sacrifice. When it comes to being vulnerable or courageous and saying what some of us want and truly desire, that's a harder pill to swallow. In the same instances, it's hard to say, I want a man. It's hard to say, I want to be happy and someone else in my life will help me experience that. That's hard to say, but it's necessary.
Good points.
Okay. So I thought that was what he said was it kind of hit home to me too. You know, all of this, you know, all of, you know, what are we seeking? You know, are we really seeking, you know, just sex and fulfillment, or, you know, for now, or do we really want something long term? Somebody we can settle down with, be happy with, who understands me, I understand them. You know, we have our ups and downs, but we push through and make through that relationship.
Yeah.
You know, do we really want that? You know, we hear people say that, you know, and stuff, but then when they get it, that's not what, you know, so is it, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, what I took from it is, because even the Bible, Solomon, he said that, you know, even though I've gained all this, I have all this, I feel like I haven't gained anything or whatever. Wisdom is the main thing or whatever. It's like we put things in their improper places, and everything needs to be in a proper place. And my thing, even on the interview that I just saw with Shannon Sharp and Monique, she said that I think her oldest son, they don't have a real good relationship because she had to get out and do her career or whatever. And my thing is, I'm not gonna diss anyone on what they want to accomplish and their goals or whatever, but what it all boils down to, when it's all said and done, was it worth relationships? Because we're built for a relationship. That there's, as long as you're here, you're gonna be around people, and those to me matter the most. No matter how much money you have, you know, you look at the Oprahs and, you know, the Trumps, and I mean, you know, all these people with the wealth or whatever. That money is only there for, you know, it can only go so far. It can only do so much. It does not bring you happiness, but people, the memories, the times you spent together, those are the things that matter. So everything, you know, needs to be in its proper place, because sooner or later, you know, that can run out. But then you're still gonna have those people in your life that could, like the reason why and then Monique said that they're not in a good place is because I think he resents that she went off and did the Hollywood thing and you left me here or whatever. And you hear a lot of stars do that. They have, there's sacrifices when Hollywood is like that, but not just Hollywood. Sometimes, getting that degree or going to night school or, whatever, you might have to make some sacrifice. I remember my mom, she chose to go back to college when I was in high school. So there were sacrifices. We were blessed that I had a 2-family household. So my dad was still there. And, she said, here, y'all pop this in the microwave. So we were able to fend for ourselves while she took some night classes or whatever. But there's sacrifices in that. But never did I feel like, she didn't love me or, she's not here or whatever. We always knew that. But, there's some situations where you have to move away from family, and they could, if they choose to, take that and be resentful about it because they feel like, you abandoned them or whatever. But yeah, that's what I got out of it, that everything needs to be in its proper place. And your happiness can't be in these material things. Yeah.
Yeah, you can have all the material things and stuff, like that. But, it pays your bills and you can go on vacation and stuff, like that.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not what's going to bring you the real happiness of communing with another person.
Yeah.
And I think when you're in a relationship too, that you both should be working together to even for both of you to achieve your goals and to meet your goals or whatever. Share. You can have money and stuff, like that, and all of that type of stuff too. Material stuff, whatever. You share that with your person,
exactly.
And you don't make that person feel inferior or whatever. Right. Because you have that type of stuff. You talk about all of those different type of things.
Right.
And then you be there for them, they be there for you. And then like, we were talking about earlier, you chase, even in a relationship, you still chase your partner and you let them chase you to keep that relationship, alive. And it will have its ups and hills and ups and downs. Yeah. But to me, stick with it.
Yeah.
Never stop when the hills start going down into the valley, because they'll eventually come back up if you can stick with that.
Yeah. As long as it's not causing you harm or
long as it's not detrimental to your health and your relationship. Like most things, like I said, I can overlook. They don't even they're not even the issue. They may be even the issue for you, but they're not even the issue for me in the relationship. I told you what my what my 2 or 3 are, but other than that, most stuff can be worked out.
And everyone's different, because I know people that the person cheated on them and they stayed.
Right, a lot of people. A lot of people do. Sometimes that's sometimes cheating, infidelity is not a deal breaker. Yeah. It just depends on what you set for you, the standards you set for your relationship. Because like all the different relationships that's out there, the thruples, the open relationships, and people choose the type of relationships that suits them and fits them. Right. So, those type of issues might not be a deal breaker in their relationship.
Right.
Right. But anyway, you go ahead with your final thoughts.
So we can
get you to the car place and get your car looked at.
Oh my God! I gotta tell the whole world. Please don't do that. I don't talk about that, please. So anyway, it's kind of like a summary of what we kind of already said, because I look at my notes and it's pretty much what we said. First of all, you want to be clear and be direct about what you want when it involves dating, when it comes down to dating. Just be clear about what you want and be direct. And you may have to define what dating is for you, because dating looks different for everyone else. You want to make sure that communication is there. For people that are, and this is in no type of order or whatever, but people that do want to seek help on dating or whatever, you might want to seek out a dating coach or a counselor. This is a big one I have. Communicate. You always need to have that communication in relationships or dating. If you have been dating for a while and you start to feel grumpy about it, or whatever, it may be time to take a break. So some of you guys where it's like, oh, this is not working, maybe just take a break for a minute. It'll get better, hopefully. But no matter what, in your dating experience or whatever, just try to enjoy it. Enjoy it. Don't take it too seriously, especially if you're just dating or whatever. and in relationships and even with dating, be gracious, be respectful to one another. You know, don't do something that you wouldn't want to be done to you. And when it comes to apps, just find the right one for you. Find the one that best suits you, because they're all kind of the same, but then they're different as well. Because some you strictly know this is just a hookup, you know, they just want to have sex. But then some, you know, it's talking about you know, your income. Like, this is where everyone can see income and what you do or whatever. So it's giving you more detail about that person or whatever. This is somebody that's really serious. And last but not least, be yourself. When you go on these dates and you're in relationships or whatever, be yourself. And time will tell. That's all I have.
All right. So we'll end this. I guess one thing we probably can, you know, check up back on another time, when you said, you know, take some time out from your relationships, you know. So I do wonder, like, if do you get back together once you do take some time out? You know, like, if
you talking about, did I say take a break?
take a break.
I was talking about people that are dating, but we can talk about what you're talking to.
I'm talking about later, not right now.
Yeah.
We got to get out of here.
Yeah.
But that'd be a good topic for another discussion. You know, like, so when you do take a break from each other or need some space, do you actually get back to where you were before, or does the relationship really end and you never get back together?
Mm.
You know, because it's said a lot in relationships,
Yeah.
and stuff, and then it seems like once you do take that break or take that space, that you end up not getting back together again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even if that's what you want, or but it just seems like the space pushes too much time between.
Yeah. You have to set parameters on it, but yeah, we'll talk about it.
All right, Dallas and the world.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us here on Tit
Thank
for
you.
Tat, This and That with Charles and Alvin. And like, share, subscribe, comment.
Yeah. Share with friends.
We randomly go in and look at the comments, and we'll get back with you. And we really thank you for joining us.
Yes. Enjoy the Super Bowl.
And slap them comments in there on the topic we were talking about today, or any other thing you need to talk about.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Bye.
Bye.